Good evening, my chess friends. Today we will look at 3 games. First game, Alohin versus Lasker. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, ed4, knight d4, knight f6, knight c3, bishop b4, knight c6, bc6, bishop d3, d5, cd5, cd5, castling, castling, bishop g5, bishop e6, queen f3. Evidently the best reply, bishop f6, queen f6, queen h5, g6, knight d5. Is bad because of queen to d4. And now d4 and queen d5, knight d5, bishop d5, rook, queen h5, rook f to d8. Queen f3, bishop e7, rook f to e1, h6, bishop h6, gh6, rook takes e6, f e6, queen g3, queen king h8, queen g6, draw. Black can avoid perpetual check if queen to e8, queen h6, queen king g8, queen g5, king h8, queen h6. But white lacks the material to force an attack if black was to play no more than bishop d6, with the threat of queen e7, wrote Alohin in this position. In 16 move, bishop d6, but white lacks the material to force attack if black was to play no more than bishop to d6 with the threat of queen e7, wrote Alohin. This short but interesting game appeared in chess theorem analysis and became a distinctive standard for the entire opening. It's a draw. The next game will be Alohin versus Tarash. f4, e5, e4, d5, ed5, e4, d3, knight f6, d4, knight e4, knight f3, bishop f5. The correct move is bishop to c5, queen e2, bishop f5, and if g4, castling with formidable attacking power. Bishop e3, c6, bishop c4, b5, bishop b3, c5, d6. White calls these simplifications to his favor, taking into account that he has an extra pawn. Black cannot take the pawn with his queen because of queen d6 followed by bishop d5, c4, queen d5, knight d7, queen f5, knight d6, queen d5, bishop e7, castling, knight c3, knight f6, queen d2, cb3, a takes b3, b4, knight d5, knight f5, knight e7, queen e7, rook f to e1, rook f to d8, bishop d4, knight d4, knight d4, queen c5, rook a to d1, rook d5, h3, rook a to d8, c3, h6, queen d3, queen d6, queen f3, knight h5, rook e4, knight f6, rook e3, knight h5, rook f1, knight f6, rook f to e1, queen c5, king h2, rook c8, rook 1 to e2, king f8, rook e5. Now black cannot play b takes c3, b takes c3, queen c3 because rook c2. rook c to d8, knight f5, queen h6, queen b6, sorry, queen g3, knight h5, queen h4. A very important point, Tarash claims that knight f6 was sufficient for a draw. Alohin disapproves this by a precise analysis, but beforehand we must note that the collection of games from the tournament was published in German, but was never published in Russia. Here in Alohin analysis, queen h4, knight f6, knight takes h6, sorry, in this position, knight takes just a minute. Knight f6, knight h6, gh6, rook e6, f e6, for rook 5 to d6, queen f6, rook e6, rook e6, and if rook e6, and if rook a to d6, queen h6, check. Queen f6, king g8, rook e6, rook 5 to d6, queen g6, king h8, if king f8, queen f5, check, king g8, rook e7. King h8, queen h6, check, king g8, queen g6, king h8, queen h5, check, king g8, rook e7. This game actually proceeds after queen h4. this position black resigns. If they will play here, will be check. Here, here and mate. And this game actually proceeded after 37 move, queen h4. Queen h4. Rook e5. F e5. Rook d1. Queen. Rook e3. Bishop g6. Queen b4 check. And black resigns. The next game will be McKenna's versus Botvinik. d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, bishop b4, queen c2, d5, cd5, ed5, bishop g5, h6, bishop h4, c5, long castle, dc5, bishop c3, queen c3, g5, bishop g3, knight e4, queen a3. Next year, in an important game of the match tournament for the title of absolute champion, Keres playing white against Botvinik decided on the attack used by McKenna. This, however, led white to immediate disaster. In the reply to long castle in this game, Botvinik played bishop to c3. It was match tournament for the title of absolute champion of the USSR, Keres versus Keres. Keres versus Botvinik. Bishop c3, queen c3, g5, bishop g3, c takes d, queen takes d4, knight c6. Black can safely attack with Botvinik confidently does to bring him to victory. Queen a4, bishop f5, e3, rook c8, bishop d3. Hoping to hide the king on b1, Botvinik allows his opponent to do this, but prepares a new blow. Queen d7, king b1, queen takes d3, bishop takes d3, rook takes d3, queen f5. White must sacrifice a pawn to free himself from the pin. e4, knight e4, queen h1, king h1, castling, rook d1, b5. Now black's knight can move to the important square d4. Queen b5, knight d4, queen d3, knight c2, king b1, knight b4. White resigns. That's it, my chess friends. I wish you all the best and have a great night. See you.